Hello, I'm Natalie Potts. Welcome to my channel and podcast where we talk business, messaging, sales, marketing, and what it actually takes to create a life and business you're proud of and that you love. This episode is going to be a little bit different today because often I'm talking around all the business elements, how to grow, where today we're going to get a bit more philosophical and we're going to talk around one of the most important things when it comes to running a business, which is your mindset. It is often the thing that really holds us back from doing that thing we need to do. And this episode is a little bit different because I'm going to be digging into one specific area of that. And I was recently at an event and I heard the point around overwhelm come up 8 times just in the space of an hour. And I was like, wow, there is definitely a feeling here right now that people are currently overwhelmed. So I wanted to bring to the table a different way of looking at things and change your perspective, because when we change the way we see things, the things you look at change. That's a quote by Wayne Dyer that's always stayed with me. Because overwhelm isn't just a feeling, it's a pattern. And once you are able to understand it, you can break it. It doesn't manage you. So today I'm going to help you with understanding what overwhelm really is, identify why it paralyzes you, the why is so important in everything we do, and show you exactly how to move through it without losing your sanity. Who's in for this? Because I am. Before we jump in, today's episode is brought to you by the Growth Coaching Collective, founded by Kerry Boland, one of our incredible Fix Your Messaging and Sell More sponsors. Kerry helps entrepreneurs ditch the fear of sales and scale with strategy, systems, and confidence in the most ethical way. If you're a business owner and you want more freedom, not more overwhelm, as we're going to talk about today, Kerry is a mentor that you can learn from. So she'll be sharing all around sales being ethical at our event on the 27th of November in London. It is not just another note-taking day. It is a room full of clarity. It is where clarity meets conversion. You're going to get the opportunity to really build your audience in a very different way. And I don't want to give too much away, but you're going to leave with a very different experience to anything that you've had before when it comes to events. And because you're a podcast listener, you can save 10% using the code podcast at nataliepots.co.uk/London Live. Let's get on with today's episode. Is overwhelm always bad? So I'll start with a simple question for you. Would you rather feel overwhelmed or underwhelmed? Because overwhelm means you're in emotion, you're building something that matters. And often clients will come to me and I said, yeah, like the likelihood is you are going to feel overwhelmed because you're doing so many things. We're going to have to look at the clarity to get you to do less things, to really focus. And I define focus on the ability to say no to things and say yes to the right things and not being distracted left, right, and centre all the times by everything happening around us or all the marketing compounding us every second of the day. You're stretched, you're challenged, you're alive. That's what it's also showing with us. If we're underwhelmed, we're often feeling things like we may say we're feeling flat or you're just coasting, and really essentially you're safe and stuck. So which one do you actually really want? Because I'll take overwhelm while growing any day of the week over being comfortable and unfulfilled every single time. And sometimes that feeling you call overwhelm is just growth happening faster than your brain can keep up. So it's not that you're broken and you hear all of this chat GPT jargon coming out now. You're not broken. You don't need to be fixed. All of this stuff. We know that, right? We're wise enough people to know this deep down. Is expanding. That's what we're doing. We're evolving, we're growing, we're learning new things. We're having to unlearn and relearn new ways of being, of doing things. And that's often where people feel unfamiliar, and that unfamiliar territory doesn't feel safe. And as you'll know, Maslow's basic hierarchy of needs are we want to feel safe and a sense of belonging. So what I'm sharing with you today, I want you to kind of think two-sided. I want you to think, what does this mean for me? And what does it mean to my clients? Because I guarantee they'll be feeling in the same court right now. So what overwhelm really is the highest definition and simplest one I have for it is it's high demand, low clarity. I'll say that again. High demand, low clarity. You've loaded yourself with expectations of things you should be doing. That endless to-do list that you're going to simply die with. That's the facts and that's the reality. Let's not kid ourselves. But you don't have the clarity on what it actually means to focus on what matters right now. So your nervous system just freaks out and you freeze. And I had an amazing client come into my mastermind recently to share with them all around how we can regulate our nervous system so that we don't go into overwhelm and we remain calm. And these all of these things I'm sharing right here are completely within your gift to have and to be. That's so important, to have the right tools and to be in a certain state. So it's not about being lazy. And I see people positioning, messaging out there with posts around pulling people down or making them feel they're getting things wrong, or that they're lazy, or they're not keeping up, or they're doing all these things wrong. And that isn't true. It's there to keep your brain safe. That's what fear is. It's false evidence appearing real. I don't feel safe. I don't know what happens next. I freak out and I freeze and I don't do anything and I just stop and I procrastinate and I overthink and I never get anything done. So that feeling all the time is that you're not, you're not moving forward. You're not drowning because you have too much to do. You're drowning because you haven't decided what's really important. And this is really key. If you're going to take one thing away from this episode today, I want you to take about the point about we have to make decisions in business. That is what overwhelm is. It's stopping you from making those decisions you need to do. High demand, low clarity. And if you have less things happening around you and you have more clarity, you are able to make better decisions in your business, and decisions move us forward. And that's overwhelm in plain English to me. So I want you to really think around what it means to you and what I'm sharing right now. Like, how can this really help you? So moving forward, and I want to talk about here, because I started to think about, well, how can I relay this in a useful way that is something you can take away and implement, that will mean something to you? Because if it means something to you, you're more likely to act on it. You're more likely to feel motivated and get a momentum to say, F off to overwhelm. And I completely got this. I know what I'm doing. I need to lead with clarity and focus. And this is what's going to help me grow my business. So I want you to be really, really honest with yourself. There's no jargon here of let's get real, like they throw out on ChatGPT, because you've heard this 100 times before, and maybe you've even thought it too. Someone once said to me before a live event, I'm afraid of coming out for 2 days. I've been afraid of coming here. Like, it's 2 days out of my business, and there's lots of my mind that I've got to get done. There's lots of people that I'm, responsible for, accountable to, and I've said I'm going to get things done, and I feel overwhelmed. I just feel that I'll come to these next 2 days and actually I won't implement anything, and I'll spend out £2,000 for no reason. So I said, okay, first of all, thank you. And I totally get it. It's reasonable to think you'll be overwhelmed. In fact, I almost guarantee you will be, because I hear it over and over again. But here's the thing. The reason so many people leave my events, they leave my masterclasses, workshops, they leave my mastermind days when we meet in person, they feel incredible. It isn't because they've added more to their to-do list. It's because they've realized all the things they don't have to do. They think they have to do what they've been told to do. And again, that's often because people just jump all the time between courses or programs or the next thing without really thinking and making a decision around what is the constraint I have in my business and what do I actually need. Because right now there are 100 different things that you could do to grow your business. There's loads. There are so many incredible mentors out there that can help you. I see so many amazing people all the time putting out great offers, and I think that'd be useful. But for me to jump in on all of those would be overwhelm, a distraction of my focus, and is actually going to slow me down and not speed me up. Hence, I say the phrase a lot around slow down to speed up, which means get things off your pad, not add them onto your pad. And do you ever write a to-do list and then actually not get through it, like most people, and get to the end of maybe a week or a month and think, that's still on there? Like, the reality is that probably wasn't as important. And I'll say the same similar when people say I've got so many great ideas. I'll say pop that idea on an ideas tab in Google or on a drive somewhere, or write it down, and you come back to it at the end of the 90 days or quarter. This is why you've got to have a strategy in place, because when you have a clear strategy with a vision, you don't stray. You stay focused on the things you know you need to do. But when people get ideas and they're distracted and they go on to another thing, they then lose the focus on what they were doing. So it's really important that you say no and you put those ideas to a side. And I guarantee most of the time I find 80% of them have no gravitas, and I'm never going to touch them or come back to them or grow that idea. So it's important about here how we manage ourselves, we manage our ideas, and we see things more logically, and we divorce some of the emotion. And that's the same when it comes to overwhelm. So I really want you to think about limiting to a few things you need to do, the core things. And that's where the phrase, like what's really going to make that boat go faster will move the needle for you. That's what you have to be focusing on. It's like where they talk around the kind of this is what I was working on in workshops a few years ago when I was working with kids and talking around marginal gains. And it's that idea, and you can go on YouTube, there's some great videos on this, but talking around like the little things that you can do. And it was all around, again, it was when they're in, I think it was Paralympics, and they were talking around getting enough sleep. It wasn't even about the sport, it was the sleep which was impacting, they weren't getting enough. So a marginal, like small 1% gain was to take their pillow from home on travels with them because they got a better night's sleep. That 1% improved their performance, like in what they were doing. So it's about those marginal gains, those small little things that you can do. And again, repeatedly doing these over. And it's the same here as well. It's being able to look at limiting the things you need to the things that are really going to move you forward. So the person then said, well, yeah, look, I could do that. I said, if you just found that one thing, would it make it feel easier for you if that's from the event or the workshop, the masterclass? And they said, yeah, of course it would. And that's when I said, well, then maybe the best reason for you to come is because you feel overwhelmed. That is a reason to do that thing because we can change that. And that's the truth. Overwhelm isn't a reason to stop something. It is the exact reason to get clarity, mentorship, and direction. And this is why I'm so much of an advocate for making sure you invest in yourself, you invest in mentors and great people around you who are where you want to be to help you get there sooner rather than later. And here's always what I remind myself. It's a really powerful thought. And I heard this from a mentor several years ago. And again, it's something that's been kind of something I wrote down and I come back to when I feel overwhelmed because it never goes away. It's just how we learn to manage it. And here's what I always remind myself when I feel powerless or overwhelmed. And it's I can change everything with one decision. You are only ever one decision away from changing your life forever. That decision could be to invest in yourself, to say yes to the thing that scares you, to draw a boundary, to send that message, to do that follow up, to take that opportunity, to financially, or finally back yourself. This was exactly the same last month when I decided I wanted to do an event. And I was like, what's the worst that could happen? Just go for it. You've got to have a lesson out of it. You may fail and you may win. But what if, again, that idea, just go for it. You've got great people around you. You know what you're doing. Stop putting it off. Stop giving all yourself the reasons why it won't work and think of all the things why it could and how amazing it could be to change the trajectory of your business growth. So one decision can change your business. It can change your income. It can change your confidence and your entire life. And that's about the power of choice. So the opposite of ownership is to blame. And when you blame, what you're really doing is giving the power away to clients, to the algorithm, to the time, luck, the market. But when you decide and really decide, you take it back. And that's how you break the paralysis. Most people don't stay stuck because of that strategy. They stay stuck because of the thinking traps. And that's why we always hear about like mindset is 90% of this game when growing a business. So you'll find that people kind of default into black and white thinking a lot of the time. It's not perfect, I'm failing, or no, you're just learning. Should, must, have to thinking. So we've got black and white, and then a should, must, have to thinking. So I should be further along. I must hit £10,000 a month. I have to get this right now. And that's not productivity. That's pressure you're putting on yourself. And that pressure, again, gets you into that mode where you feel you're firefighting. It's overwhelm. And in that state, you lose clarity. And clarity is so important. And then finally, you've got overgeneralizing. So we've got black and white thinking, should, must, have to thinking. And then you've got overgeneralizing. That one bad post, no one cares. 2 people showed up in my masterclass. I'm bad at business. That's your brain trying to protect you by exaggerating. Yet we can all have those moments. I've done so many things this year and failed at them. I've had no shows to things, whether it's a sales call to a low engagement to a masterclass. If I'd have defaulted to I'm a failure, people don't like what I've got to do, I'm not worthy, I wouldn't move forward. I'd just simply stay stuck. So you can't eliminate those thoughts, but you have to lean into you can stop obeying them. That's the difference here. 80% of your thoughts a day are negative. And I believe it's something like, it's probably maybe more now, but it's around 8 positives outweigh 1 negative. Well, 80% thoughts are negative a day. That is a lot. So I just want you to really rethink around that and around how you're showing right now. Are you allowing overwhelm, which is something you can control and change, to lead the narrative on how well your business is doing right now, how well you're doing in your business? Every time you avoid stress, you shrink your capacity for success. Okay, so just avoiding things and not leaning into it is you running away from what feels heavy. And you can run as much as you like, but you have to at some point stop. You can't have the upside, like the money, the impact, the recognition, the growth, the strong reputation, the incredible feeling of running a business without the downside. You are going to have risk. You are going to fail. You are going to be exposed and have people judge you and not like you. You're going to fear things. It's going to feel really scary and it's going to be uncertain. But so is everything that is new. Many years ago, I was 26 when I wanted to change the way I felt about my body. And you can see my transformation shoots on most of my social media platforms, particularly Instagram. And it shows the kind of where I was, where I got to. And I was 13 stone and I got down to 8.5 stone for photo shoots. Now, I'd never joined a gym until 26 years old. I was so scared. All I did was go into, and I say all I did, but I still went. I made a commitment. I went 3 times a week and I went onto the treadmill and I do 30 minutes on the treadmill 3 times a week. I can laugh now because of the context and how I've grown. At the time, that was an incredible win for me to do that. It was brave, it was courageous, it was scary. My biggest fear, which again sounds wild to say out loud, was that I would run on a treadmill and I would fall over, hit my face, and everybody would be laughing at me. That was my biggest fear. Now, if we take a logical person here with that, their mindset would be, well, great people will come and help you up if you did do that. The reality is you're worrying about things that probably won't happen, likelihood. And what if it does? Like what? You'll pick yourself up again, you'll have a bruise on your head and you'll crack on. You're like, no one's died. And I think sometimes this ability to reframe things, particularly around the events that happen and things like overwhelm and avoiding stress, can really help us to change again the way we see things. So to win big, you have to be willing to feel big. You have to be willing to lean into exposure, risk, uncertainty. A year later, I was training in a bodybuilder's gym because I decided that I needed a PT because I didn't understand fitness and nutrition. They educated me on it. I started learning how to get the most out of food and work with my body when it came to training. I started to fall in love with the process, which is where we get that phrase. And I started seeing results. Right? It wasn't overnight. It took time to get results. It took repetition. It took consistency. It took failing to get to that workout that I committed to, but I just didn't feel good enough on a day. It took my coach to say, like, you've got this, and like, let's stay on track or let's change things because it's not working well. We've gone backwards, but we need to now move things again. That happens in everything where there's growth. And that's always really the cost of growth. And the more you hold, the more you can hold. So capacity isn't given, it's built. You learn things. It's like learning to ride the bike. You get better at it. Quick one. This episode is also sponsored by Harmony Accounting, led by Sam Hoyle, the financial strategist who makes money simple, practical, and actually doable for us all in business. She's the go-to for me when it comes to cash flow, profit, and understanding your numbers, because cash flow is really the oxygen of your business. It is stated that 82% of businesses fail in the first few years because of cash flow, a lack of it. You're going to hear from Sam at Fix Your Messaging and Sell More live event in London on the 27th of November, where she'll show you how to make your money make sense. So if you'd like a ticket, all you need to do is go to nastypots.co.uk/London Live. And again, as a podcast listener, use the code podcast to save 10%. Let's make this practical. How do we take back your control? This is what you want to know. So here's how you reduce overwhelm and move forward fast. Number one, and this is where you might want to get pen to paper, or you might want to just tag that point in the YouTube or your podcast where you're listening to it right now. I want you to write these things down and do them, because this is what's going to help move you forward. Number one is get clear on what really matters. Write everything down. Pen and paper girl myself. Then identify the £10 tasks over the £1,000 tasks. This always helps people. I learned this years ago and I still use it right now. Let's keep business really simple. Don't make it complex. So All the £10 tasks, the things that, they're costing you that, and they're £1,000 tasks. Do the high value ones first, delegate and delete the rest. Like I said about those ideas that you have, you need to be able to say no to things. So there's £10 tasks that are not going to move you forward. You either delegate them off to somebody who can do them or delete them. You are to focus all of your efforts and time and energy into the £1,000 tasks. Number two, time block like a leader, right? It's really important that you show up and manage your week intentionally. It's not enough to just wake up when you want to not have a structure. I'm not that person that sits in a 5 a.m. club. I used to when I was in corporate. I loved it. I can default to that if I want to. I don't always like to. I manage my diary and it wouldn't often be relevant to share to you because it'd be very different from your life. I don't have kids. I've got different responsibilities. Just be honest and meet yourself where you're at, but plan your week intentionally. Make sure you give time in your diary to plan time. Loads of people don't, and then they wonder why they don't get things done. But one of the most important things to do in that is to block out time for you, the people you love, the revenue driving work, and then the admin last. I hear people tell me I've got a whole admin day, and I'm like, to do what? What are you doing in your admin day? What you should be focusing on is building your audience every day and getting in more conversations, more people who need what you do, who need the offer that you have. That structure will help bring calm. I'm a true believer that it doesn't mean we have to be completely disciplined, but most of us need structure. We like structure. So think around, are you really giving time to plan in your calendar what your week looks like? Like own it, own a day. What does a great day look like for you in your business? Really get close to that. Number three is ask for help. I see this one every time I post around asking for help. Somebody reaches out to me in my DMs. Saw that post. Which post? Where you said about asking for help. Amazing. What came to mind? Well, I never asked for help, so I thought I'd message you. Brilliant. If you don't ask for help and you struggle on your own, it takes you longer to get anywhere you want to get. It drains you, it delays you. So delegate. Leadership is not doing everything. However tough this is to hear for some people, in a business, you are leading it. That's a fact. You lead your business. You're the first person that people are looking to. That is leadership. It's knowing what's worth your energy. It's being able to ask for the help for the things that you need. I don't know everything. I just shared a story about when I wanted to start training and start the gym. I invested in a coach because I didn't know anything about nutrition or training. So I asked for help. Make sure you do it too. Number four is protect your baseline. The baseline is all around eating properly, sleeping, moving, and resting. I think people take these like a given. Like we feel that we should know them because, they're things we did as kids and like we just grown up, like we eat, sleep, repeat. No. Most people, again, are trying to do too much. And that's where they feel the overwhelm. And a tired brain will literally scream at you, everything is overwhelmed. So sometimes it's not even a mindset, it's the fuel of the things which can support that. So please make sure you're really making sure that you protect yourself here. You eat properly, you sleep, you move and rest. I've invested again in a ultra human ring. You can get Aura rings, you can get many smart rings out there. This tells me every single day where my sleep and my metrics are at. I don't get obsessed by it, but it is a great baseline for me to look at. Am I getting enough sleep? And also hold myself accountable to that. Having a good morning and evening routine, that slight tweak in your week could absolutely change everything that you feel and therefore impact how you're running your business. Really important. Number five here is to catch your thoughts like data. When your brain screams, I can't do this, pause, stop. Like take control. Is that the truth or is that fear? And then move away. You really have to be challenging of the narrative you have and the thoughts that you have to change them because you have the power to change your thoughts. You have the power to change your beliefs as well. And that's a separate episode. But that's often what separates talkers from doers. I'm not more intelligent than more people. I'm more consistent. I'm investing myself. I ask for help. I'm doing the things I'm sharing with you. Hence, I'm able to share them because I know they work. And I believe that if you bring them into your life too and focus on small incremental things you can do each day, each week to work on these, you will change the things in your life and you won't be saying things around overwhelm in the same way. So let's bring this to a close. Overwhelm is not a signal to stop. It's a sign you're stretching into something new. I often think that kind of part where we're in treacle and things are really feeling tough and challenging, that is your path to growth. And it should and is going to be uncomfortable. Let's start accepting that. Growth is hard. You can change everything with one decision to take back your power, one decision to move despite the fear, One decision to stop labeling growth as too much. So before you go to bed tonight, I want you to write down one thing that you will do different after listening to this, whether you've listened to it on my YouTube channel or my podcast. I want you to write that down. Really super simple, just the one thing you're doing. Because again, if you come to many of my events, I tell you not to just stack a load of notes into your pad and then chuck it on the side when you get home. I want you to look through that, reflect, take time out for you, and say, what are the three priorities out of this? You are never, ever going to do everything in that. As much as you want to, as much ambition as you have, as much drive as you have, you are never going to get everything done on that. So again, meet yourself where you're at. Just slow down and write down those few core things. But for this, I want you to write out one thing tonight before you go to bed. Clarity creates confidence, and it cuts through the noise when we're really clear on things. Confidence then builds a consistency, and consistency is what builds the financial freedom for you. So I want you to know that you are one decision away from momentum. Business doesn't have to be complicated. You do have to decide. A huge thank you for listening. If you want to find out exactly what's holding your business back right now, take the time to do the work that is in this. If you need anything from me, I'm over on Instagram at Natalie Strategist. You can send me a direct message on there, share with me what was most used out of this podcast, and ask me anything that you need to help on right now.